The jungle was alive with sound. Strange birds screamed from the treetops. Insects clicked in the tall grass, and the air smelled heavy with smoke and damp leaves. A lone human sat near a dying fire, his face lit by the weak orange glow. He was tired, hungry, and alone. Days had passed since his landing on this world, and already it felt like the planet wanted to kill him. His clothes were torn from brambles, his hands scratched, and his stomach twisted with hunger. In front of him lay the small creature he had managed to catch, something like a rabbit, but with scales instead of fur. He held a stick over the flames, but the stick broke under the weight, dropping the half-cooked meat into the ashes. The human cursed softly, digging in the dirt to retrieve it. That was when he saw it, something half buried under the ash, glowing faintly as if alive. At first he thought it was just a rock catching firelight, but as he brushed away the soot, a shape revealed itself, a long shaft, blackened with age, ending in a sharp head of stone and metal fused together. It was a spear, ancient and strange. His fingers closed around it, and a shiver ran up his arm. The weapon felt cold, yet familiar, like it was waiting for him. He lifted it from the dirt and studied the markings carved along its length. Symbols he could not read glowed faintly in the dark. When he touched them, the glow grew stronger, the fire crackled louder, and for a moment it felt like the jungle had gone silent. He shook his head and forced a laugh. "It's just a stick," he muttered. Though his voice was not steady, still, hunger won over fear. He pushed the rabbit-like creature onto the spear and held it over the fire. The flames hissed as fat dripped into the coals, and the smell of roasting meat filled the night. For the first time in days, his mouth watered. He leaned closer, his body relaxing against the log behind him. The strange spear balanced perfectly in his grip, as if it had always been his tool. But in the darkness beyond the circle of firelight, something moved. Two eyes reflected the glow of the flames, unblinking and hungry. The human did not see them. He was too focused on his food, too desperate to think of danger. The forest around him grew quiet again. Too quiet. Only the crackle of fire remained. A voice whispered, not with sound, but inside his mind. "Humans cook their meals with fire," it said, low and mocking. "But humans are the real feast." The man froze, the hair on his arms rising. His eyes darted into the shadows, but he saw nothing. He gripped the spear tighter, his knuckles white. "Who's there?" he demanded, his voice breaking the silence. No answer came, only a ripple of laughter that seemed to echo from the trees. The jungle air thickened, heavy like a storm before lightning. He stood slowly, spear in hand, scanning the trees. The fire threw shadows across the trunks, twisting shapes that looked like claws and fangs. He swallowed hard. He was not alone. The whisper came again, closer this time. "You eat to live," it said, "but you live only to be eaten." Human's breath caught in his throat. Every instinct told him to run, but another voice deep inside told him not to turn his back. He raised the spear, its faint glow brightening as if sensing danger. From the edge of the light, a shape stirred. Something tall, something watching. The man squinted, but the figure slipped back into the dark, leaving only the memory of glowing eyes. The fire crackled, sparks flying upward like stars trying to escape. The human took a step back, spear held ready. The roasted meat hung forgotten above the fire, smoke curling into the night. He knew one truth now, a truth deeper than hunger. Something out there wanted him, something that did not fear his fire, and somehow, the strange spear in his hands was the only thing keeping him alive. The whisper returned one last time before the night fell silent. "Eat well, little human," it said, "for soon you will be the meal." The man stood trembling by the fire, gripping the ancient spear. His hunger was gone, replaced by a chill that sank into his bones. He did not know who watched him, or why the weapon glowed in his hand. But he understood this much: the night was not his friend, and survival would cost more than food. The fire burned low, its glow shrinking into small pools of orange light across the jungle floor. The human stood with the spear still in his hand, his chest rising and falling with fast breaths. The whisper had vanished, but its echo remained in his mind, crawling into every thought. He had been hunted before by animals, by storms, even by hunger itself. But this was different. This was not nature. This was something intelligent. Something cruel. The forest was alive again with sounds, yet none of them felt real. Birds called in the distance, but their cries were sharp, warning notes instead of natural song. The man turned in circles, the spear glowing faintly like a candle. In the dark, every tree looked the same. Every shadow seemed to hide movement. He thought of running, but where could he go? This world stretched for miles of jungle, rivers, and mountains, and none of it was safe. His hand tightened on the spear as he stepped back toward the fire. The meat he had been roasting was blackened and ruined now, forgotten in the ash. His hunger twisted painfully, but he ignored it. Survival meant more than food tonight. Survival meant listening, watching, waiting. Then the voice returned, not from the trees, but from inside his skull. "You hold what is not yours," it said, slow and heavy like the sound of stone grinding against stone. That weapon belonged to those who thought they could rise. But they fell, and we feasted. The human gritted his teeth, refusing to answer. The whisper laughed softly, a sound that was both inhuman and familiar. It was not just mocking him, it was testing him. He drew in a deep breath, his eyes fixed on the trees. "Show yourself," he said, his voice steady though his heart pounded. Silence followed, broken only by the pop of burning wood. Then, a shape moved between the trunks, tall and broad, its body bending slightly as if too large for the forest. Two eyes burned with reflected firelight, golden and unblinking. The man took a step forward, his spear raised, though fear pressed heavy on his chest. The alien stepped closer, but not fully into the light. He could see scales glistening like whetstone, a body armored by nature itself. The voice spoke again. Though its mouth never moved, humans once hunted with fire, with bone, with blood. They believed themselves strong, but to us they were flavor, nothing more. And now you repeat their mistake. The human swallowed hard, his throat dry. This thing spoke of humans as if it had known them long ago. He was the only one. Here, the only survivor. His ship had crashed far from any colony, and yet the alien talked like it remembered his kind. Memories not from now, but from ages before. His fingers brushed the carved symbols on the spear. The glow brightened, spreading like veins of light across the weapon. The alien hissed softly, its voice lowering into anger. "That weapon is cursed, little prey. It remembers battles your kind lost, and it will carry you to the same end." The man shook his head, gripping the spear tighter. "It feels like it remembers something else," he muttered, though he was not sure if he believed it. The alien moved again, circling the fire like a predator waiting for weakness. Its claws scraped against a fallen log, leaving deep cuts in the wood. The man turned with it, never letting it out of sight. He was prey. Yes, but prey that had learned, prey that had claws of his own now. The spear hummed faintly, its glow steady. It was as if the weapon wanted him to fight, wanted him to prove himself. The voice filled his head one last time that night. "You will feed us soon," it whispered. "Your kind always does. Run if you wish, fight if you must. It makes no difference. In the end, all humans taste the same." The alien melted back into the trees, leaving only silence and the fire. The human lowered the spear but did not release it. His legs shook, his stomach ached with hunger. But his mind was sharper than before. The jungle no longer felt like just a wild place. It felt like an arena, and he had just been chosen as the prey. He sat near the fire again, his eyes fixed on the spear glowing softly in his hands. The whispers might return. The alien might strike, but one truth burned stronger than fear. He was still alive, and as long as he was alive, the hunt was not over. The night stretched long, filled with the smell of smoke and damp earth. The human had not slept. His eyes locked on the dark edges of the jungle. The alien's words haunted him, circling his mind like vultures waiting for death. Humans are the real feast, it had said. But why? Why humans? Why him? The spear lay across his lap, glowing faintly like a heartbeat. It felt heavier now, yet alive, as if watching him the way the alien had. When his fingers traced the carvings, faint images flickered in his head, shadows of men and women fighting, falling, bleeding. The visions were broken, impossible to understand. But one truth was clear. This was not just a tool, it was history itself, and history demanded he carry it forward. When the first light of dawn broke through the canopy, the jungle shimmered with mist. The human stood, every muscle aching but his grip steady. He would not hide, he would not run. He had survived storms, starvation, and the crash of steel against ground. One more enemy would not be the end. He walked deeper into the trees, the spear balanced in his hand. Birds scattered at his presence, and unseen creatures rustled through the undergrowth. Every sound pulled his nerves tighter, yet his stride did not falter. He felt the alien's eyes again, watching, circling, waiting. It wanted him afraid, it wanted him weak, but fear was fuel now. Hours passed until he reached a clearing where the trees bent unnaturally. The ground was scarred, blackened as though by fire not of this world. Bones littered the soil long, twisted, cracked open for marrow. Some were not human, some were. The sight struck him like a hammer. This was not the first hunt. Others had been here before, and they had not survived. His chest tightened, but the spear warmed in his hand. As if to remind him he was not them, he stepped forward, his voice steady, though his throat felt dry. "You call me prey," he said into the still air. "Then come and prove it." From the shadows the alien answered with silence first. Then with movement, it emerged into the clearing, no longer hiding, no longer teasing. It was tall, taller than any human. Its body lined with black scales that shone like polished stone. Its mouth was full of teeth sharp enough to split bone. Its claws dripping with some dark fluid that hissed where it fell on leaves. The golden eyes locked on him, and the voice filled his mind again. "You are brave, little prey, but bravery does not change taste." The human's grip on the spear tightened, his body lowering into a stance he had never learned, but somehow knew. The weapon hummed, light spreading brighter now, casting long shadows over the bones at his feet. For a heartbeat, neither moved. Hunter and hunted circling the truth of who was who. The alien tilted its head, curiosity flashing across its monstrous face. "Strange," it whispered. "That spear remembers you. Perhaps you are not the first of your kind to stand here." The words hit him deeper than claws could. Were others here before him? Centuries ago, fighting this same battle, the visions in the spear, the bones on the ground, the whispers in his head, all pointed to the same truth. This was not just his fight. It was a cycle. Humans hunted, humans devoured. Yet humans rose again each time. The alien stepped forward, its shadow falling across the clearing. "You will be my meal," it hissed. "Your spear, your courage, your blood, all will feed me." The man raised the weapon, his voice firm. "No," he said. "Not this time." The air between them burned with tension. The jungle seemed to hold its breath, the world pausing for this single moment. Predator or prey, hunter or hunted. The answer would be carved in blood and fire. The alien lunged, and the human braced, the spear glowing brighter than the rising sun. Asterisk, the alien lunged with terrifying speed, its massive frame cutting through the mist like a living shadow. Its claws slashed downward, aiming for the human's chest, eager to tear him open before he could even scream. But the spear moved on its own, guided not just by muscle but by something older, something deeper. The human's hands tightened around it, and with a sharp twist he blocked the strike. Sparks flying where claw met stone. The sound echoed like thunder through the clearing. The alien hissed, its eyes narrowing with surprise. Prey was not meant to resist. Prey was not meant to fight back, yet this human did. and the weapon he carried glowed brighter, casting a halo of light across the battlefield. The human staggered under the force, but held his ground, his feet digging into the dirt. Pain shot through his arms from the impact, but instead of weakening him, it fueled him. Every nerve screamed to run, yet his body refused. For the first time since his crash on this world, he was not just surviving, he was fighting. The alien snarled and struck again, faster this time, its claws carving the air with deadly precision. The spear moved with equal speed, turning aside. Each strike, the man's movements grew sharper, stronger, as if the weapon whispered to his muscles how to react. Step left, block, thrust, pull back. It was teaching him, guiding him, shaping him into something new. He slashed forward, and the spear's head cut across the alien's scaled chest. The creature roared in shock as dark blood spilled onto the ground, sizzling against the soil. The human's eyes widened, not in fear, but in realization. He could hurt it. This monster was not invincible. The alien staggered a step back, its golden eyes burning hotter with rage. "You dare!" the voice thundered in his head. "You dare wound the hunter!" Its body swelled with fury, muscles rippling, claws lengthening as if the jungle itself gave it strength. It struck again, harder, each blow like a hammer of bone and flesh. The man's arms shook, but the spear glowed brighter with every impact. His body moved faster, his instincts sharper, as though the weapon poured centuries of combat into his veins. Each strike he blocked, each counter he made, the clearer the visions in his head became. Warriors before him, humans fighting against monsters like this one, falling and rising, bleeding but never breaking. He was not alone, he was part of something greater. The alien lunged again, jaws wide, teeth glistening with venom. The man twisted aside, ramming the spear into its side. The creature roared, slamming him back against a tree, the force rattling his bones. Pain flashed white in his mind, but his grip never loosened. The spear hummed like a living heart, pulsing with defiance. The jungle fell silent around them, as if the world itself was waiting to see who would fall first. The man spat blood, his breath ragged, but his eyes burned with new fire. "You said humans are the feast," he growled, his voice low but steady. "Then choke on me." With a sudden surge, he drove the spear upward, cutting through the alien's arm. The creature shrieked, its roar shaking the trees. Birds scattering into the sky in terror. Its blood splattered across the ground, burning holes into the earth. But the man did not stop. He pressed forward, every strike stronger, every step faster. The prey was becoming predator. The alien stumbled back, shock breaking through its rage. It had hunted countless beings across countless worlds, but never had prey evolved mid-hunt. Never had a meal fought back with such fury for the first time. In its long life, the hunter felt fear. The man stood tall in the firelight, the spear glowing like a piece of the sun. His chest heaved with exhaustion, his body broken yet unbent. The alien's whisper in his head was weaker now. "This is impossible," it hissed. "Humans do not win." The human tightened his grip and raised the weapon. "Then remember this night," he said, "because humans change, humans adapt, and tonight the feast turns." The jungle seemed to roar with him as he stepped forward. Predator and prey no longer mattered. Only survival, only victory, only the truth that humans were never meant to be food. They were meant to rise. The clearing smelled of smoke, ash, and burning blood. The human stood over the wounded alien, chest heaving, sweat dripping into his eyes. The spear pulsed with a strange light, each beat echoing like a second heartbeat in his hands. But the light was not only in the weapon, it was in him, crawling into his skin, whispering in his mind. Visions struck him like lightning, flashing so fast he almost dropped to his knees. He saw humans, but not like himself. They wore armor of bone and hide, carrying spears glowing like his. They fought against towering creatures with scales and teeth, the same kind of predator before him now. The battlefields were ancient, long buried by jungle and time, but the blood was real. It was their blood, and now it was his. He staggered, gripping the spear tighter as the memories poured through him. Every strike, every scream, every death. They were all there, men and women falling, rising again, refusing to die even when their bones shattered. The spear carried their story, their will, their hunger to survive, and it was giving it all to him. The alien hissed, clutching its wounded arm, golden eyes burning with rage and fear. "You see it now," the voice echoed in his skull, weaker but sharp. "You see the truth of your kind. They fought, yes, but they lost. They always lost. They fed us for centuries." The man's breath was ragged, his vision still full of ancient battles. But through the chaos of memory came a single thread. The humans of the past had not fought for victory. They had fought for something else. For time, for growth, for the chance that one day one of them would rise stronger. The spear was not a weapon. It was a record, a promise. And now he was the one chosen to carry it. He raised the weapon, its glow flooding the clearing like firelight at dawn. The alien snarled and stepped back, claws trembling with fury. "This is not your destiny." It spat. "Humans are flesh, weak and soft. You are born prey, and prey cannot change." The man shook his head, his voice low but unyielding. "Prey that remembers becomes predator." The memories guided his stance, each movement smoother than before. He could feel the rhythm of old battles, the weight of generations shaping his hands. Every breath was in time with those who had fought before him. He was not just himself anymore. He was every human who had fallen, everyone who had bled, everyone who had whispered, "Not yet," with their last breath. The alien charged again, furious now, desperate to end what it could no longer control. But the spear moved faster, his arms steadier, his strikes sharper. The weapon did not only block, it led him forward, each thrust carrying centuries of skill. Each cut drew more blood from the monster, sizzling on the earth like acid rain. The alien screamed, its voice less like thunder now, more like fear. Man pressed his attack, the spear a blur of light and shadow. In his mind, the visions reached their peak. He saw a woman standing with the same spear, roaring as she struck down a beast twice her size. He saw a child throwing a broken shard like a dagger, piercing the throat of a predator. He saw fire, blood, sacrifice, but also defiance that never ended. The memories burned in him, not as pain, but as strength. The alien fell to one knee, its claws digging into the ground, its breath ragged. "You cannot win," it whispered. "You will end as they ended, broken, swallowed, forgotten." The man lifted the spear, its glow brighter than ever. "Then let me show you why they fought," he answered. "They fought so I could stand here, and I will not fall." The jungle itself seemed to tremble as he drove the weapon forward. The alien shrieked, its voice shattering like glass. Blood splattered across the clearing. But the man did not flinch. He had seen this before, in the memories, in the stories of blood, and now he was writing his own. The predator was no longer just a hunter. It was part of history now, and the human, once only prey, was becoming something greater. Asterisk. The clearing was silent except for the heavy breaths of the human and the ragged growls of the alien. The spear glowed in the man's grip, steady, alive, its light reflecting in his eyes like fire. The alien, once towering with confidence, now crouched low, wounded and cautious. It circled him slowly. No longer the fearless predator it had been moments ago. The man stood tall, blood dripping from cuts along his arms, his chest heaving. But inside him, something had shifted. He was not just reacting anymore. He was leading. Each step he took forced the alien back. Each strike made it hesitate. The balance of power had changed. "You should be broken by now," the voice hissed in his skull. Weaker, trembling with disbelief. "No human lasts this long. No human fights like this." The man raised the spear, his voice calm though his body ached. "Maybe you've been hunting the wrong humans." The alien lunged in sudden rage, claws flashing through the air. But the man twisted aside with uncanny speed. the spear guiding his movement. He struck across its side, the blade tearing deep into scale and flesh. The alien shrieked, stumbling, its golden eyes wide with shock. Pain surged through the human's body from the impact, but instead of slowing, it sharpened him. His instincts screamed louder than his fear. Each wound he took made him faster, stronger, like the spear was burning weakness out of him. The alien snarled, its movements growing frantic. The hunter was losing control. The man pressed forward, each strike carving space, each thrust forcing the beast to retreat. The jungle echoed with the sound of battle claws against stone, roars against defiance. But the rhythm was no longer the aliens, it was the humans. The predator slipped, crashing against a tree, bark exploding under the weight. The man did not hesitate. He closed the gap, driving the spear down. The alien barely blocked, its claws trembling as they held against the glowing weapon. Its golden eyes locked with his, and for the first time, the voice in his mind was not filled with hunger. It was filled with fear. "This cannot be," it whispered. "You are prey. You cannot turn the hunt." The man pushed harder, his voice rising over the struggle. "Then look at me," he shouted. "Look at your prey and see what it becomes." With a roar, he shoved the spear forward, forcing the alien back into the dirt. The ground shook under the impact, dust rising around them. The beast thrashed, slashing wildly, but its strikes grew weaker with each passing breath. The human was relentless, every movement carrying the weight of those who had come before him. He was no longer fighting for himself. He was fighting for them all. The alien stumbled back once more, collapsing against a stone, its claws dragging across the ground. Its breath came in shuddering growls, each one thinner than the last. The man advanced slowly, the spear glowing brighter. The jungle watched in silence, as if it knew the story unfolding before it. "You were supposed to feed us," the alien rasped, blood dripping from its wounds. "You were supposed to be weak." The man's voice cut through the air like steel. "Maybe once, but not anymore." He stepped closer, the spear's light shining like dawn breaking through night. The alien crawled backward, its massive body trembling for the first time. In centuries of hunting, it felt what its victims had felt. It felt hunted. The man leveled the spear, his voice steady, his eyes unyielding. "The hunt has changed," he said. "You thought I was your feast, but now you are mine." The predator that had ruled countless hunts roared one last time, but the sound carried no strength. It was not a roar of victory, but of defeat. The man advanced, each step marking the truth the alien could no longer deny. The prey had become the predator. The hunter was now the hunted. The alien lay broken in the dirt, its chest heaving, its golden eyes dimming. The jungle that once echoed with its power was now silent, as if the world itself held its breath. The human stood over it, his body battered, his breath heavy, but the spear still glowing in his grip. The weapon hummed like a living flame, casting light across the clearing. The alien's voice whispered weakly in his mind. No longer thunder, no longer command. Impossible. It rasped, "You are prey, always prey. This hunt was ours. This galaxy was ours." The man knelt closer, his voice steady, cold. "Not anymore." The creature's claws scraped weakly at the soil, trying to rise, trying to reclaim the hunt it had lost, but every movement failed. Every breath grew shallower. For the first time in its life, the predator knew the taste of fear. Its head tilted upward, eyes narrowing, not in rage but in disbelief. "You will never stop us," it whispered. "There are more, many more. They will come for you, and they will feast." The human raised the spear, its glow pulsing brighter. With his heartbeat, "I know," he said, "but let them come." His voice carried across the clearing, echoing against the trees, against the silence. "Because now they will find something else. Not prey, not food, but hunters." The alien shuddered, its last breath leaving in a hiss that rattled through the air. Its body collapsed into stillness, blood seeping into the ground. The jungle seemed to exhale. The tension breaking, the human stood tall, the spear glowing like a shard of the sun. He was alone, but not truly, in the memories carried by the weapon. In the strength of those who had fallen, he was never alone. He lifted his eyes to the sky, stars shining faintly through the canopy. Somewhere up there, others of its kind watched, waited, hunted. Somewhere out there, the galaxy believed humans were prey. He gripped the spear tighter, his voice a whisper not of fear, but of promise. "Then let them hear me," he said. "Let them all hear me." The words seemed to carry with the glow, rising into the night, a warning carved in blood. Fire and defiance. Humans may bleed, humans may break, but they rise always. He was proof. This jungle, this hunt, this battle, it was only the beginning. The alien's corpse lay silent at his feet, but its last words still rang in his mind. There are more, many more. The man looked again to the stars, and a small smile crossed his weary face. Good, he thought. Let them come. The galaxy would soon learn what the predator had already discovered. Humans were not the feast. Humans were the warning. The jungle wind blew through the clearing, carrying sparks from the dying fire into the night sky. Each ember rose like a star, a silent message written above. The human lowered the spear, his body heavy but his spirit unbroken. The hunt was not over. It had only just begun.